Hello, happy Tuesday. Welcome into Let's Bet It. We had a Monday Still Fun Day yesterday. Today is Taco Tuesday, and we are ready to go. Big betting night tonight, Jared. How you feeling
Yeah.
today?
Sneaky good. Well, first of all, our props yesterday were kind of a fail.
I
The
mean, it was
the Jabbarle unfortunately did not get home. The Bills, that game last night was absolutely insane.
fun
And
to watch.
it was, and it just goes to show you on Sunday afternoon, we were talking about how the sports books got absolutely wrecked with teams like the Cowboys covering and the Packers and the Chiefs. Well, it only took two games, Sunday night and Monday night, for all of that to get reverted. So the public that made all that money on Sunday, they gave it all back Sunday night with Pittsburgh, and then they gave even more of it back on Monday night with the Bills. And then all of a sudden, the sports books, all is right in sportsbook world again. They have a funny way of getting even very quickly. But you're right. The game was awesome last night. And today's a sneaky good sports day. 8 Champions League matches, which are happening maybe as you're watching this show. We've got 2 LCS games. We've got 11 games on the ice. And, of course, the NBA starting back up again, which we'll get into in a little bit. So, random Tuesday. It's really good. It's really good.
It's a great Tuesday.
Yeah.
I woke up today and I'm like, today's going to be a good day, you know? All right, lots to get to today. We got some early birds. Every single Tuesday, we give our early bird picks for college football. NFL is going to be pretty exciting this weekend. We have our first day of NBA, 2 massive games, and I'm so looking forward to the NBA season starting. We have the MLB pennant race with our guy, John Hyslop. Slappy John's going to come on, give us some of his MLB picks, and then we can't end without our Pickswise play of the day. So without further ado, let's get it. Let's bet it. Finger guns coming in early today.
Finger guns. They've made an appearance.
Jared,
we're ready to start
early
the
bird
show.
bet. Every single Tuesday, we give out some of the games that we're looking at, not necessarily that we've bet yet, but that we're definitely heavily thinking about putting some coin on. What games stand out to you for this weekend? Because I know we're on the opposite side of a couple of these.
We are. One in particular. I will save that one for a little later in this segment.
Okay.
I will let you strike first with our games that we're on opposite sides on. But you know how we like to do a little dumpster diving earlier in the week with some of these teams. The games aren't exactly the highest profile games. In fact, besides maybe 1 or 2 of these, you're probably not going to even watch them on cable TV. You'd probably need like a streaming service to watch most of these. I'll start with those because those to me,
those games.
I do, and we've been doing really well because they're not very publicly bet, and I feel like I've got a good feel for the market. Wyoming laying 19.5 against New Mexico. All right, riddle me this, Lauren. Wyoming just got shut out by Fresno State last week. They're 0-2 in the conference. They're 1-4-1 against the number. But they're laying almost 3 touchdowns. Of course, we're just going to lay it with Wyoming because the odds makers are telling us something. And here's what they're telling us. New Mexico's really bad. 129th in yards per play. One of the worst teams in the country. There's only 130 teams in the entire country. Wyoming is not a team that's going to wow you offensively, but New Mexico's maybe the worst offensive team in the country. They've only scored 37 points in their last 4 games. Their average scoring margin during their last 3 games is a minus 27. So I only need New Mexico to win by 20. So I feel pretty good about that. Air Force. We were on the Fighting Falcons last week at Boise State. Outright underdog win. This week they're laying 3.5 against San Diego State. The Aztecs needed double overtime to get past San Jose State last week, and they gave up 117 yards rushing in that game. That's bad news against Air Force. We know what Air Force likes to do. They like to pound the rock. All right, so those are the dumpster dive games. Let's get into a couple of games that you've heard of these teams, and you've probably watched some of these games before. You, I know, have watched both of these teams that I'm about to talk about in these respective games. Let's start with Virginia, Georgia Tech. I know you watched this Virginia team last week. Their offense looks great. I like the over 60.5 in this game. Both teams play with tempo. Virginia plays with one of the fastest tempos in the nation. 60.5 feels light. You watched Virginia last week. Their offense looks pretty good with Bronco Mendenhall.
Yeah, I mean, both sides of the field look good. I mean, they shut out Duke last week. I watched that game from the sidelines in the pouring rain, so that was fun. But it was a really fun offense to watch. They're looking really strong. And, I mean, you look at a team that plays in the rain, first of all, and it always slows them down. It didn't slow them down at all.
Yeah.
At all.
And so I'm looking at this total at 60.5, and it scares me a little bit because 4 straight unders for Virginia with that tempo scares me. But the average total in those 4 games that have gone under their last 4 weeks was almost 69. Wow. So now the total is 60.5. So I feel like I'm getting a little bit of a discount on Virginia. And Georgia Tech's been able to score a little bit. They're 54th in yards per play. They've been able to put up some points this year with that option offense. So I could see them maybe getting 2 or 3 touchdowns, which means we only need Virginia to score 40. That I feel like that's a solid number for Virginia to be at because of how fast they play. I know you were down in Miami a couple weeks ago. You watched this Miami team play with De'Aaron King. Little different now. Freshman Tyler Van Dyke. That is the backup quarterback now that De'Aaron King's out for the year. He played okay last week. Miami scored a bunch of points, but he threw 3 picks. And NC State now comes in, and NC State's been able to shut down Clemson this year. And I know Clemson's not great, but it's still Clemson. They've been able to shut down Boston College this year, who's off to a decent start. They should be able to handle this Miami team, and they're only laying 3. Not a great home field advantage for Miami either, right? The Hard Rock Stadium's not exactly a buzzing campus for, college students to go watch those games. I would imagine NC State's going to have a decent amount of fans in the stands on Saturday.
I totally agree with you. And I was obviously there. They played CCSU. So that was, it was a blowout game. I think it was like 70-0, 69-0, something like that. And De'Aaron King also didn't play in that game.
Okay.
They switched between Jake Garcia and Tyler Van Dyke.
And Van Dyke.
And they both looked really good, but obviously you're playing, against a team that maybe isn't up to the same caliber. But at the same time,
NC State, one of the best defenses in the country, a top 20 team in yards per play.
This is a completely different circumstance this week, but it's going to be really interesting to see what Miami is able to do. I know they're looking for a little bit of umph this season because they haven't necessarily performed to their standard or what they want to be at, where they want to be at so far this season.
So NC State -3, Virginia, Georgia Tech over 60.5, Wyoming, Air Force, and one more I got for you. This game's going to be a really good game.
We're really hitting the college football games hard. I like it, Jared.
The Early Birds college football, it's where I've gotten the best line movement in my favor so far this season. And I'm having a better year in college football than NFL, so I might as well allocate where I'm doing well in. UCLA laying 1.
Wait. That wasn't the saying. If something ain't broke, don't fix it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's what it is. Thank you. I'm UCLA, like, that doesn't sound right.
UCLA laying 1 against Oregon. Classic example here, and we'll get to this in your next game. Ranked team underdog against an unranked team. Immediately, you're like, wait a minute, why is the unranked team favored? UCLA's look pretty good. And Dorian Thompson-Robinson's got a 13-2 TD to INT ratio. Meanwhile, on the other side, Anthony Brown's looked bad for Oregon. Only 1 touchdown in his last 2 games. They were lucky to beat Cal last week. That was one of the Pickswise 3-start plays. So UCLA laying 1 at home against Oregon. And I think the Bruins with Chip Kelly get it done on Saturday.
We'll see what happens, Jared. I want to talk about this one game because I saw on our Google spreadsheet, you're on the other side of this one. Yes. Oklahoma State at Iowa State. I like OSU money line in this one, plus 210. They're the underdogs. They're still perfect on the season. They rallied for a big win last week over Texas. And I think that this is going to be one of those games where Oklahoma State isn't necessarily getting the love from poll voters or odds makers in this one. I think they're playing like a team with something to prove. And I think they're worth taking in this one. But you're on the other side of it. I want to hear what you're going to say.
It just goes back to odds analysis. Listen, once these games start, anything can happen. You saw it with the Browns Cardinals over the weekend. All the sharps, the smart money, were all on Cleveland. How can an undefeated team be an underdog? Blah 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 blah. It didn't matter. The Cardinals went there and then they kicked the crap out of them. It's the same. I get the same vibes in this game. Now that doesn't mean it's going to play out the same way as that Cleveland Arizona game did. But the odds makers are telling you they think Oklahoma State is a fraudulent undefeated team. For them to be laying not only almost a full touchdown, but the line has moved in Iowa State's favor. Open 6, now it's 7. I got 6.5. We posted it in the Early Birds column. I believe 6.5. So if you bet it on Monday when we posted the story, you've gotten about a half point of movement in your direction. I don't have a lot of analytical reasons why Iowa State's better, except net yards per play.
Okay.
And that's because of Oklahoma State's offense has underachieved this year. Their offense is 95th in yards per play. Their defense is playing pretty well. Top 20 in opponent yards per play. They're a top 20 defense, but their offense really struggles. I think odds makers think Iowa State's defense. Last week they faced Texas, who has a terrible defense, one of the worst in the country. Now they face Iowa State's defense, who is top 10 in opponent yards per play. So the odds makers are saying they don't think Spencer Sanders and that Cowboys offense is going to be able to consistently move the ball. And they think Brock Purdy, who, by the way, is 11-2 in his career in October. Brocktober. But the 2 losses are both to Oklahoma State in his career. So you make sense of that statistic. I don't know. But I think Iowa State's going to win. I think they're going to cover.
I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. But I say never underestimate the mental state of a team, because a team like Oklahoma State, you look at the odds makers in this one and they're like, excuse me, we're 6-0 on the season. We've been playing exceptionally well. Jaylen Warren finished with 193 yards last week on 33 carries, 154 yards in the second half. And I know you're talking about Texas's defense not being that great, but at the same time, like, I look at a team like Oklahoma State and they're coming into this game. They're like, excuse me, why are we not getting the respect we deserve?
You're right.
No respect. No respect. Right. They never undervalue the mental state of a team.
They're gonna talk. I guarantee you, Mike Gundy, who is a very interesting coach to begin with, is going to use that as a tool this week. There's no doubt about it, because Oklahoma State sees they all know what the point spread is. And you've talked about it before. They talk about that in the locker room. I think it was Alex that mentioned it. Dino Babers used it as his motivational speech before the game. Like they're 14-point underdogs or whatever they were in one of the games. There's no doubt that is going to be used. It was when he was coaching at Bowling Green, I think. And what?
Your impersonation, it was just great. It was great.
I've had 2 cups of coffee this morning.
We're talking like last for a second.
We're just rolling with it. But you're spot on. You make that. I'll be honest. That is the best case to be made for Oklahoma State. Yeah. Is that they are going to look at that point spread and they are going to get extra motivated, because they're like, wait a minute, Iowa State's brutal. They got their ass kicked by Iowa. They got beat by Baylor, and we're getting a touchdown. Come on. That's
no
garbage.
Respect, I tell you.
No respect.
That's going to be a fun one to watch this week. Another one I'm on, Ohio State at Indiana. I have Indiana with the points, plus 19. I think they stay within 3 scores of Ohio State in this one. Okay. They don't look great on paper, right? Indiana doesn't. 2-4 overall record, 0-5 mark against the spread when playing FBS competition. You're like, okay, Lauren, you're not really helping yourself in this one. But they're hoping to get star quarterback Michael Penix Jr. back. And they've kept it competitive against top 10 competition. So they lost by 5 points to Michigan State last week, kept it within 2 scores against Cincinnati earlier this season. I like them plus 19 in this game. I know their stats don't necessarily look great, but I have a good feeling about Indiana in this one.
Here's how I would play it from your angle. If you really like Indiana, I would play Indiana, but I would come on the other side and I would play the over in CJ Stroud's player props.
Okay.
Because I feel like if there's a path for that game to be wrecked, it's CJ Stroud saying, hey, listen, Matt Corral's out this week.
Yeah.
Alabama's lost. There's an opening for me to win the Heisman Trophy if I have a 6 or 7 touchdown game and, go nuts. And that's the path to Iowa State winning by 50 in this game, is that CJ Stroud says, hey, listen, the Heisman Trophy's out there. I can grab it. And it is, because Corral's hurt, and we'll get into that later in the week. I don't think he's going to play against Tennessee, or against LSU, which is a huge loss. But it also opens up the Heisman Trophy market a little bit for a guy like a Stroud or a Caleb Williams in Oklahoma to kind of reach out and grab it. So that's how I would balance that, because, man, Ohio State, when they get rolling, they can easily drop a 50 burger on Indiana, because Indiana's looked really puny at times this year. They've had some moments too, but they've also broken my heart a couple games. I really thought they should have covered that game against Michigan State, and the game against Cincinnati was just a disaster. So
yeah, I know.
But you never know.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe I'll hedge it a little bit with that. I kind of like that idea. Okay, another Big Ten game that I'm looking at, Northwestern at Michigan. I'm taking a lot of the big spreads. Michigan.
You really are. This is unlike you to be on two huge favorites.
I know. Who is she?
Or no, you have one dog. You have 2 dogs. No, you're a normal Lauren allocation. Two underdogs. That sounds right.
I mean, it's okay. Michigan minus 23.5. I think Michigan, and like to be honest with you, I think Michigan's undervalued in this game. To be
Northwestern's bad.
I mean, they're a substantial favorite at home against Northwestern, but I think that the spread should be a little bit more. I mean, I don't know. They're
what do you make this number at? What do you make this number at? If you were a bookmaker and I was betting at the Lauren Jbara Sportsbook, what would you make Michigan this week?
I like that I got it at 23.5, but okay. I say that it could move to like 27, 28, and I would still comfortably take it.
You would lay 4 touchdowns with Michigan. Let's see what the odds makers say. Yeah. The odds makers agree with you so far. They've moved this from 21 to 24, and everyone's on Michigan. Yeah. And when I say everyone, the betting public is not gambling at this stage. Everyone is like the smart, early, sharp college football bettors. The only people, the only people that bet college football on Tuesdays and Wednesdays are us and like smart people out in Vegas. Everyone waits till Friday and said nobody has money to bet now. They're betting on the games that happen tonight. They don't want to wait and
they want to make some money tonight.
They want to make money tonight. They don't want to wait till Saturday. So the early action is on Michigan.
Yeah, well, I mean, Michigan is 5-1 against the spread this season. Wildcats just 2-4. So I feel pretty good about Michigan in this one. And then I want to talk about our best earlier bets. So early. Did I just say that?
Earlier, and there's early birds, and then there's earlier birds. You're the earliest bird. The earliest
bird. You remember that game?
Yes. I'm going to be an angry bird if we don't get this Iowa State game across the finish line.
I'm going to be an angry bird if his early birds don't hit. I want to talk about the best early bird bet. So if you could choose one game this weekend that you're like on 1,000% putting a couple units on this game, this is 1,000% going to hit, which I know in betting is never guaranteed, but the one you feel in your heart the strongest about.
Are we doing I think we should do a swag bet on this because it is my strongest look, but I think it's Iowa State. I really do. Okay. I just think everyone's going to be on Oklahoma State this week because everyone's going to say what you just said, which is not unreasonable or not logical. But
sometimes it doesn't need to be all stats driven and like completely logical.
I'm just such a contrarian bettor. Like I always side with what the books need because I have this conspiracy theory that there's going to be something that happens late in the game that, tilts things in favor of what the sports books need because that's why the casinos are so bright and shiny. So I know everyone's going to be backing Oklahoma State as a dog this week because everybody watched that game against Texas on Saturday. Mm-hmm. And it's not to say that Oklahoma State can't win and cover, but I feel like, if I bet with the sports books over and over again, I'll win long term. So I'll take Iowa State. I'll lay 6.5. And if you want to do some silly bet, I'll wear some goofy outfit or I don't know, whatever.
Jared, every swag bet we've done so far, you've lost. So
we had one push. I haven't lost everyone. I didn't lose one.
We do have one.
I didn't win it, but I didn't lose that one, the Michigan bet. But you're right.
My best early bird bet. I look forward to this game every single year. It's the USC Notre Dame good old fashioned rivalry. So USC is at Notre Dame. I'm taking Notre Dame laying 7 this week. And why are you laughing? You always laugh.
Because I love looking at the rundown every night. I know when Lauren's teams are playing, either the Avs or Notre Dame or Michigan. I never need to ask questions about who Lauren's teams are playing this week. I just look at the rundown.
Well, I look at this. This actually has some logic behind it.
Okay, all right. Lay it on me.
The Trojans have lost 3 of their last 5 by at least 14 points, and Notre Dame
look bad.
Has covered in 3 of its last 4 games. I look at some of the simulations. Notre Dame running back Kyron Williams accounted for close to 100 yards from scrimmages. And this is one of those games that I think the Fighting Irish look forward to every single year.
Isn't there a trophy? It's like the shillelagh thing. It's like some kind of like weird thing that they give out, right?
I don't even know that. I've been a Notre Dame fan my whole life.
Jack will look it up. It's the jeweled shillelagh or something. It's like a ridiculous scepter that they give out for this award. They give out little tokens for some of the rivalry games. It's like I don't know what it is. The jeweled
Yeah.
shillelagh or something. That's what it's
The
called.
good old shillelagh.
The jeweled shillelagh.
The jeweled shillelagh. Yeah,
Jack's
but
frantically
I feel pretty
looking
good
on
about Notre
Google
Dame.
right now.
I feel pretty good about Notre Dame laying 7 there. They're at home. Touchdown Jesus looking over them in that game. And we're feeling pretty good about it. Both my brothers, my parents are going to be there for that one. So they'll bring a little bit of good luck to the stadium. It's going to be a fun game. I'm looking forward to that one. But Notre Dame -7. That is my best early bird bet.
I'm right. The jeweled shillelagh. I just looked it up.
Oh
It's a trophy. It's a thing.
I like it.
Jeweled shillelagh. I'm buying you a jeweled
shillelagh.
shillelagh if the swag bet loses this week.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. All right, from college football, we're heading to the pennant race. Let's bring in our good friend, Slappy John. Slappy John, how you doing today?
Just living the dream. What about you guys?
Loving it.
I mean,
Loving
no,
life. Your Red Sox are killing it right now.
Just like that.
Okay, what have you thought about the game so far, both the AL and the NLCS? Because we've had some pretty wild, incredible games.
The ALCS is where it's at. I mean, right now, just a lot of offense. You want overs, right? Like no one wants to watch, unless you got the pitcher strikeout prop, you don't want to watch a pitcher's duel. Like I don't. So obviously that's where it's at. But for today, it has to be the Dodgers Braves because that game's on at 5 o'clock. That's going to get us into the NBA, and then that's going to get us home for the night. So you're going to have something for that game. I mean, that's just the way it works. Our hands are tied.
I know. Who do you have? Like first of all, who do you have to win the series in general on both sides?
You want some real honesty? I have no idea. You know what happens at the end of games or at the end of the 5th when my guy gets taken out? That's it for me. That's it for me. I don't even know who won the game. I have no idea until the next day. I've moved on.
You had a great pick last night on the Rodriguez home run prop because he pitched pretty well.
And because the guy hit a home run off him.
That's why it was great. But anytime you have a pitcher that does that, like actually, pitches well, I think he went 5 or 6 innings in that game, but you still hit a negative prop against him. That means you made a good handicap. So
well, the Grand Slam helped out a lot because now this guy has a leash. You know what I mean? Like he's going to be around a while. He can walk a couple guys. He can get in trouble. And, I mean, that was a meatball he served up to Tucker. I mean, that was beautiful. I did watch the end of that just because it was the Red Sox. But,
of course.
For most times, I'm gone right after the my prop's over. Nothing else to watch. But I will tell you, I do think the Red Sox win the whole thing. They look magic.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? Like how many Grand Slams now? It's like they're just one of those.
3 Grand Slams in 2 days.
Yeah. I mean,
that's 3 in 2 days.
3 in 2 days. They had 2 in
game. 1 game.
2 in back-to-back innings.
Yeah, that's
in the first
absurd.
and the second inning. That's insane. Some teams go 2 months without hitting a Grand Slam.
I've never hit one in my life.
That was a massive snort. All right, I'll take the reins from here. I'll give Lauren a second.
Lauren,
take a lap. All right, Slop. Here's where my head is at tonight with the Dodgers Braves. So you are not. This is it. Dodgers futures impossible to bet before the series started because they were laying like $2 in that series against the Braves. Now you're getting him at plus 170. This is, in my opinion, the last night to bet the Dodgers series for 2 reasons. 1, if they lose tonight, they're down 3-0. Forget it. It's over. 2, if they win, then they're going to be down 2-1. And I would imagine that the odds flip to almost they're, if not favorite, almost a slight favorite. And I wouldn't want to bet a team down in the series as an even money bet to win the series. That's scary to me. Yep. So to me, plus 170 tonight is like your last real chance to bet Dodgers series futures or World Series futures. I saw 4-1. That's a pretty good price for LA considering they were like 2-1 2 days ago. Yeah. So to me, that's the way I would play it tonight. If you want to bet the Dodgers to win the game, very tough because they're laying a bunch of juice. But if you want to bet them to win the series, in my eyes, there's a little value there.
I like it. I'm going to take Charlie Morton. Stick with the pitcher prop though, not to win the game. 4.5 is so low.
It is
for him. I mean, all he has to do is not get in trouble. Really, I mean that's basically the ball game. I think he can make it 4 or 5 innings. He's gone. I think it's like his last 25 starts. He's had 5 strikeouts in 21 of them. One of those starts was against the Mets on the last day where they just pulled him after like 40-something pitches, and he wasn't even in trouble. So, dude, he's
been an ace.
5. Yeah, his last two games in the postseason, he's I think 9-6. The Dodgers have struck out more than anybody else. I mean, that's a fake stat though, just because there's only 2 teams that have played as many games. So there's that. But I think it's like 24% is where they're at. Walker Buehler's on the mound. Yeah, no. Well, Walker Buehler's on the mound. If he makes it far, then we're gold because he's a strikeout machine. Like he can't hit for anything. I think he struck out like 60-something times on the season. I mean, it's something absurd. Like I got to look it back up. I mean, he is definitely going to give you 1K. So now you're looking at 4.
I'll add a wrinkle too. 5 o'clock Eastern game, 2 o'clock Pacific.
Yeah.
3rd, 4th inning. Shadows might start to become a factor in the game. I don't know how Dodger Stadium is with shadows. Every stadium is different with the shadows in the midday, 3, 4 o'clock, duskish time. It's getting dark earlier now because it's October. That, to me, is always something to keep an eye on with day games. When will the shadows be a factor? Because they affect the hitters. If it's like going from light to dark with the pitching rotation. So keep an eye on that too, and that might be an interesting.
It's October, Jared, but it's also Jocktober. All right.
All right, give us your Braves cap, Atlanta girl. Go ahead.
The Braves have won all 4 games in which they were the underdog of at least plus 150.
Wow, that's a nugget and a half. Right there.
They're 154, and I looked at this stat too, though, that doesn't necessarily help the Braves, but the Dodgers are 17-1 straight up in their last 18 home games. So. I'm like on the fence with this one. I'm just
hold on. Can I push you over the fence? Are you ready for this one? And I saved this specifically for you because my buddy is a gigantic Braves fan, and he's been clamoring to give me this stat. He's like, you have to use this stat on the show.
They do it.
Atlanta has lost 10 of their last 11 games at Dodger Stadium and 7 in a row.
They're due.
Also, they had a 2-0 and 3-1 NLCS lead last year in the bubble and could not win the NLCS.
It makes them dangerous.
That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. You take that with you.
The show, never undervalue or underestimate the mental state of a team.
Okay.
I got to say about that.
I'm just giving you the numbers. You digest them as you please.
Sometimes, Floppy John, you can't always worry about the numbers. You got to just feel it.
Stats are for losers. All right. That's just a fact. All right.
I'm clipping this and I'm going to tweet out this segment right here. Stats are for losers. Say that again one more time just so I get the emphasis.
Stats are for losers. They just are. They'll always be. They always mess you up because you get on these numbers and you go, 17-1. They can't lose. Now you bet your car. Now you're taking the bus. You know what I mean? Like that's how it works.
Now you bet your car. Then you bet your social security number.
Oh no! Stop! Identity thieves.
Yep.
That's a real thing.
You know what I mean? Like it happens, and just watch the games, get a feel. You know what I mean, and go from there.
That's why live betting. That's why I love live betting. But last night's a great example, John, because we didn't talk about the NFL much with you, but everything pointed to Buffalo last night. The stats on Tennessee were brutal. Yeah,
I would have been homeless had I listened to that. Like seriously, what about my kids? What about my kids? They're not playing club soccer. They're barely going to public school
how did they do anymore. On Saturday? I saw that, or it was Saturday or Sunday, right?
We took a lot of losses, but there were some goals. It was nice. Right. They kept it close.
Got some overs.
Off my phone. Every overhit.
Every overhit.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that was big. I was off my phone. That worked out. Everyone won.
Sloppy John, I love it. Okay, so if you could give us your 1 or 2 best bets for the night that you like, obviously stats are for losers, but that you could guarantee.
They are.
You could guarantee that 10% of the time it works every time. What would you choose for tonight? Like your best.
All right, obviously the Morton prop. You can do that 2 ways too. You can do it at DraftKings for 4.5. Like that's the wimp out way. That's the way I took. But if you want to be somebody, go to FanDuel. That's 5.5, and that's plus 120. Money. So I mean that's nice. JD Martinez in the second game. If you need something, here's the problem though. It's going to be right up on the NBA games. So it's going to be tough switching back and forth.
Do you have an NBA pick tonight? Feel free.
Giannis, man, the 3-pointers. I bet you he's gonna hit a couple. Dude,
really?
He only has to hit 2. to get I think it was plus 250.
He was working on that in the offseason.
Yes.
I saw.
That was what I was going to say. Is the one thing that he said he wanted to improve on his 3-point shooting.
I love that angle, John. That's the best angle. That's the best angle I've heard all day of any NBA game.
The Utah game, right, in the preseason, he takes up. It was their first possession. He just dribbles right up to the line and just splashes it.
That.
You're like,
that's I'm betting that tonight. That's my only NBA bet of the night.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, can he hit a 3 now? Because if that happened, then you might just
Ben Simmons should learn something from him, huh?
Yeah, no, that'll never happen. But,
oh my gosh.
No, so anyways, so if you're gonna have something, you want a hitter prop. That way you don't have to pay too much attention if you're not gonna watch the baseball game. Go with Martinez. His RBIs are all plus money. Dude, he's hit a home run in 2 straight games. He's not
he's
runs
hot.
left and
he
right.
loves hitting
Zach
at Fenway Park,
Greinke is like a pitching machine right now. So he
They've
has
seen
success
him
against them. Even batter versus pitcher doesn't matter at all, but he does have success against Greinke.
No, trust me, it matters. They look at those stats. I know stats are for losers, but they look at those stats.
You know, but it's like, no, but you're basically, I mean, I can't explain it. It's just, that's just the way the world
science.
Yeah, I mean, it's science. So JD Martinez, go with him. Giannis, you can have that going at the same time. That's always fun.
I like the Giannis one a lot.
Yep, little hit the back button on the remote. 100 times until you hit.
Love the back button on the remote.
You're probably already swimming in cash from the Morton play earlier. So, I mean, I don't know. It feels like it's going to be a good night.
It is. It's a good Tuesday slot.
Yes, yeah.
LCS, NBA, NHL. Are you a hockey guy? Have we talked about this?
Team totals. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. Just might as well. Just a lot of times you see those 2.5s, and you're like, dude, there's 3 periods in the game.
Yeah.
How can you not get one a period? I mean, it's math. Like, it's 1 a period.
It's
That's
math.
it.
That's for losers.
Yes, that's for losers too.
I love it.
No, but I mean, these guys have been playing hockey their whole life. Give me a 1 goal a period. It's 20 minutes, dude. I mean, seriously, like 1 goal. That's it per period. Like that's.
I just snorted.
Yeah, that shouldn't be that hard.
This is the funny thing about hockey. It looks, when I'm watching hockey, Lauren, you can attest to this. You've been on the ice with these guys. It looks like it's really hard to score a goal. Like, these goalies are everywhere. Like, they take up, remember the Geico commercial with the walrus and net? Like, it looks like there is no space.
That walrus could play. That walrus was nice. Like, they could score him. No, but I'm a very, what's called a losing hockey bettor.
Okay. At least you're honest about it.
Yeah, you only bet that when there's literally nothing else on that night. Like, that's basically when I go to hockey.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going to have a hockey bet.
There you go.
It's probably going to lose, but I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to be entertained.
I love it. Sloppy John, it's always a pleasure having you on. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to label you now as John Stats Are for Losers Hyslop. How do you feel about that?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, perfect. We're going to stick with it. We're rolling with it. I love it. It's always fun having our friend Sloppy John on there. John, Stats Are for Losers Hyslop. You'll love to see it. All right, let's get to our best bets of the day. First of all, Pickswise, is there a 3-star play of the day?
Ryan Hodges dropping Canadians money line tonight. They're at home. They're facing the San Jose Sharks. 3-star play, laying about 50-ish cents. I won't give away the handicap. Ryan, I'm reading it now, did a great job with the write-up. So go check it out. Pickswise.com, 3-star play of the day. The Habs on the money line.
Check it out. It's going to be really, really such a fun night. I'm so excited for it. Okay, let's get into our best bets. Before we do, NBA, Jared, are you looking forward to it? Tell me about, do you have any NBA picks tonight?
I'll be honest. I didn't until Slop gave us that Giannis prop. I saw over a half 3-pointers laying about 75 cents at MGM. I know it's juicy, but it feels like he hits one in the first quarter, and then you just go about your day and continue to do whatever you wanted to do. The 1.5 also was plus money. I would certainly look into that too, because I like Slop's take that Giannis is working on that part of his game, and you would imagine he'd want to feature it. The NBA is a really tough sport to bet on nightly, in my opinion, just because of the lineups and everything. So opening night, I like to take a back seat, and I like to kind of watch, and I like to kind of see how things develop. Also, there's only 2 games tonight, so you don't have a lot to choose from. I would assume the Bucks at home raising the banner would be motivated, but sometimes I can go in the other direction. Maybe a first quarter under or a Nets first quarter bet if you want to play the opposite emotional angle from Milwaukee raising the banner tonight. And I have absolutely no idea who's going to win that Warriors-Lakers game. I would lean Warriors, but I don't know how the Lakers are going to come out.
Fun question for you first of all, I want to talk about just a little bit about the Nets Bucks game. I look at the Bucks, and obviously the trophy on their mantle is going to give them some extra motivation. For the Nets, though, I think it's hard to avoid the elephant in the room, the whole Kyrie Irving situation. And I think that they're going to want to get the narrative off of that and make it more about, hey, this is what we can do this season with or without Kyrie. So I think that's going to be a really, really fun game, and obviously a little bit of pent-up tension still there from last year in the postseason, because that was
great series.
A phenomenal series. Okay, fun question for you from our producer, Jack. And neither of us looked this up, so I honestly don't even know my answer to this question. If every MVP on their team brought their trophies to the game, how many trophies would be at the Nets-Bucks game, and how many would be at the Lakers-Warriors game?
Westbrook has 1. LeBron, I think, has 5. I might be shorting him 1. Warriors, Steph has 1. So I'll say 7 at the Lakers-Warriors game.
I'm going 9.
Might be off.
I'm going 9 at the Lakers-Warriors game.
I might be shortchanging. Actually, no, I don't think I'm shortchanging LeBron. I think 5 MVPs sounds about right. Maybe I'm off by 1 or 2. Nets-Bucks. Harden has 1, right?
Yep.
Giannis has 2.
Yeah.
KD has at least 1. Maybe 2, but I think 1. It was the one when he cried and he said, "You're the real MVP, Mom." I love that. That's one of my favorite lines. All right, so I'll say Nets, Bucks, Harden, 1, 2. I'll give 1 more just to be safe. I'll say 5 at Nets, Bucks. Okay. 7 at Lakers, Warriors.
And I'll go 6 at Nets, Bucks, and 8.
Playing Price is Right on me.
Yeah, Price is Right. Jack, give us the answer.
Warriors 7.
Warriors, Lakers 7. You're right. You're right. Jack, give us we need the Nets Bucks. What's Nets Bucks?
LeBron has 4. All right, so I said 5. I was close with LeBron.
Yeah. 6. 6.
Oh, Steve right. Nash. Duh. That was kind of a trick question, though.
That was a trick question.
That was a trick
question. Oh, man. All right.
But I was wrong about LeBron, but Nash made up for the other one. Yeah, what's the Bucks-Nets one? You got to give us the Bucks-Nets answer.
Yeah, Bucks-Nets, baby. Give us Bucks-Nets.
We're waiting for it. Feed it to us like Zeke.
6. I'm right.
What did I say? 4. What did I say? 4? I said 5. You said 6. All right, so we went 1 and 1.
We went 1 and 1. Yeah.
It's not
pretty
bad.
good about that. I like it.
Wait, Nash has – who is Nash coaching? He's coaching the Nets, right? Nash coaches the Nets, right?
Are you asking me or are you asking producer Jack?
Yes,
yeah,
Jack.
It was
because you put Nash in the LeBron category. I was like, wait a minute, he's not on the Lakers.
Yeah.
I was confused.
That's a very exciting question. You should.
It really was.
I know. I like that.
Too bad we don't win any money for getting those right.
Keep those coming, Jack. All right, time for our personal best bets plays of the day. Who do you have?
Yeah, I'll be honest. This is a tough night for play of the day because there's so many different sports. But you were so enthusiastic about your hockey picks. We're going to craft some kind of segment around your hockey picks at some point. Don't worry. I'm going to piggyback the hockey vibes tonight. This Panthers Lightning game, if you remember last year, this was like the series. Like everyone wanted to know if the Panthers were good.
Hockey. It was awesome.
It was. It's the Sunshine State Fire Hockey Series. I thought 6. That's kind of the flat total that we see. 5.5. It used to be 5, then it was 5.5. Last year, it kind of got bumped up to 6, 6.5. I thought 6 was a pretty fair number for this game, considering I could see both teams scoring 6 goals, especially the Panthers offense, which looks really good. And the Lightning offense absolutely has been fantastic this year and previous years. So 6 felt like a decent buy spot for the over. I don't love this. I would sprinkle like a quarter unit here, because we're just starting to get involved with hockey. But I think Panthers Lightning is going to be a fun game tonight. I want a little action on the over.
I love it. Okay, I have Avs at Caps, Avs money line. I locked it in last night at plus 108. I think it moved a little bit.
A lot. It's minus money now. Great bet, LJ. Tremendous bet.
Wow. Yeah, well, I got it at plus 108, so I would still take the money line at minus money too. But I look at the Avs. Okay, so you look at them tonight. They're without Nathan McKinnon, still under COVID protocol. They're without Gabe Landeskog, serving his 2nd game suspension for his 2-game boarding suspension. No Val Nichushkin, which obviously is a great 2-way forward for them, upper body injury.
Great name.
Devon Taves, I know, Valerian Nichushkin, it's awesome. Devon Taves, he's out as well. Obviously, upper body injury, one of the best guys on their defensive core, Cale Makar's D partner. You look at what the Caps have done so far this season. Ovechkin, 3 goals and 2 assists in 2 games. I mean, last time I checked, that's pretty damn good. So people are like, yeah, the Caps, they're not slowing down the Avs without a lot of their star players. People don't underestimate, don't sleep on the depth of this Colorado Avalanche squad. It's their first road game. Andrei Burakovsky is going against his former team. I think that there's going to be a lot of fire. I watched them play against the St. Louis Blues on Saturday, and they were down 2 goals. They came back from a 2-goal deficit, tied it at 4-4. They called Tyson Joe's goal a kicked goal, so they ended up losing that one 4-3. But they never gave up on that game. Without Nate, without Val, without Gabe, without Devon Taves. I think they look to guys on their blue line like Cale Makar, like Bo Byram. They got some pretty good shots off last game. And the power play was looking really good. Nazem Kadri stepping up into that top line center still, and he's been pretty good in that spot. I just don't underestimate the Colorado Avalanche and their depth because they're incredible. And mentally, I've been around that team. They don't give up. So I think this is going to be one of those games. They're fired up. It's their first road trip of the season. Yeah. They're feeling good. I like it. Colorado Avalanche money line. I got it at +108. I would still take it at minus money.
Market agrees with you.
All in on that.
There's not a lot of public action on these hockey games night before. So if you wake up the next day and the lines flip from a plus to a minus, that means some smart people out in the desert agree with you.
Smart people in the desert, or just really, there's a lot of Avalanche fans out there. One of the two.
Maybe. But again, you're not getting a ton of volume with a hockey game in October the night before. So the only thing that's really going to move that line is smart, respected bettors that are taking the Avs right out of the gate with a plus money underdog. So I think it's a great bet. I'm on it too. I tailed it. I bet it last night. Once I saw it in the rundown, I immediately bet it.
I love it. Thank you. Thanks, Jared.
Let's go. That. So I'm on both hockey picks tonight.
It's going to be a fun betting night tonight. Lots of hockey. We got NBA. We got MLB postseason. We got soccer. What else do we have? Am I missing something?
Baseball.
Yeah.
And I've got a futures article dropping today on Pickswise.com. Back to the futures. Examining lots of fun things.
We got it all. It's going to be a fun night. That's it for us today. Find us on the Pickswise YouTube channel. Go to Pickswise.com. Make sure to download that Pickswise app. It's incredible. Get it on your phone. If you don't have it, what are you doing? You're missing out. I'm Lauren Jbara. That's Jared Smith. Best of luck tonight, guys. Let's get it. Let's fit it.